Encapsulation. In object-oriented programming, encapsulation hides the internal state of one object from the others. It is the technique used to implement data abstraction internally. Encapsulation is used for access restrictions to class member and methods. Different components with different properties come together to form a single cohesive unit. When an object inside a class keeps its state private and only exposes the selected information, this principle requires the ability to define some field as either private or public. Access modifier keywords are used for encapsulation in object-oriented programming. For example, in Java, it is achieved using private, protected, and public keywords. When you sit in a car, do you ever wonder how many different systems are working together at once to make the car functional? For example, the air cooling system, the engine, other different components of the car such as seat structure, headrest, all come together in a single car together provide you with an overall comfortable experience. This is an example of encapsulation. Different components with different properties come together to form a single cohesive unit, a car. Also, you only see the relevant details but not their internal working. This is nothing but data abstraction. Thus, encapsulation often leads to abstraction. In terms of programming, one good example of data encapsulation is a class. Since a class has so many different attributes and methods that correspond to different components, they make a perfect example of encapsulating data into one cohesive unit. Example B. Consider a real-life example of encapsulation in a company. There are different sections like the account section, finance, sales. The finance section handles all the financial transactions and keeps record all of the data related to finance. Similarly, the sales section handles all the sale related activities and keep records of all the sales. Now there may arise a situation when some reason an official from the finance section needs all the data about sales in a particular month. In this case, he is not allowed to directly access the data of the sales section. He will first have to contact some other officer in the sales section and then request him to give the particular data. This is what encapsulation is. Data abstraction means displaying only essential information and hiding the internal details and describing things in simple terms. The internal process of the method is hidden from the outer world. There are many ways to achieve abstraction in object-oriented programming, such as encapsulation and inheritance. A Java program is also a great example of abstraction. Here Java takes care of converting simple statement to machine language and hides the internal implementation details from the outer world. For example, to drive a car, we need to know how to accelerate, brake, and steer. The car does not need to tell us about how it burns the fuel, how it rotates the tires, or how it performs the things. The information is hidden from the driver. It only focuses on what to do, which means it will drive us to a destination. Polymorphism is a concept where an object behaves differently in different situations. Polymorphism has the ability of message to be displayed in more than one form. A person at the same time can have different characteristics, like a man at the same time is a father, a husband, an employee. So the same person possesses different behaviors in different situations. This is called polymorphism. Example, we have to write a function to add some integers. Sometimes there are two integers, sometimes there are three integers. We can write the addition method with the same name, having different parameters. The concerned method will be called according to the parameters. Polymorphism is extremely used in implementing inheritance. There are two types of polymorphism: compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is achieved by method overloading. Inheritance: the capability of a class to derive properties and characteristics from another class is called inheritance. Inheritance is a mechanism of code reuse.